सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Time now for the nation's sharpest opinion. An Indian Air Force pilot, a wing commander, has been killed after the Tejas light combat aircraft, the LCA Mk-1, that he was flying, crashed at the Dubai air show today. The visuals have shocked the nation. They are being discussed everywhere, especially because this is the second Tejas LCA crash in a span of 20 months in its 23-year history since it took its first test flight in 2001. Do we have a problem here? Stay with the visuals, ladies and gentlemen, and the audio tracks. Watch from the very first second as the Tejas lifts off, smooth and confident, slicing through a clean, clear blue sky. The jet takes off smoothly, climbing into a clear blue sky under partly cloudy conditions. It executes initial rolls and passes over the crowd. The aircraft takes a final vertical loop, a demanding high G turn. As it approaches the bottom of the loop near the ground level, it appears to lose power control with the nose pitching downward. The aircraft then collides with the ground in a barren area past the runway, erupting into a major and massive fireball. You are seeing the visuals there. And then the debris scatters, thick black smoke billows upward, obscuring the sight. These are the final moments of the Tejas as it crashes. Now, let us accept this. It is not anti-India to ask why the Tejas crashed. It is pro-India to demand answers. And this is exactly why questions must be asked of HAL. Because 8 months ago, the Air Chief Marshal AP Singh had said something unprecedented. He said, I can only share our concerns and requirements at this point. I have no confidence in HAL, which is not a good situation. That is the Chief of the Indian Air Force openly admitting a crisis of confidence. The problem is many people feel that is a statement which compromises the government. It doesn't. The question today is inevitable. Is HAL doing something wrong? Has it done enough? Atmanirbharta is aspirational. I support Atmanirbharta, but I would like to ask the government, what about accountability? What about readiness? Because while we celebrate breakthroughs, we also quietly try to retire away our MiG-21s, aircrafts that carried our Air Force for decades. And it is time to say it aloud. The next conflict will begin in the skies. Air power will decide the first 48 hours or 72 hours of any future war. Are we ready for that? Just a couple of days ago, I want to give you an example. Washington approved the scale of some Javelin missiles, Excalibur projectiles and related equipment to India. It was a less than $100 million package of precision and lethal missiles. But in that approval, there was a clear line written. None of these exports to India are going to compromise American military worthiness. Which means even they are concerned. First they take care of their own army, then they export. Are we getting too interested in export of BrahMos, export of Tejas, export of the arms industry, when we should be building proper capacity within? You see, nations prepare, nations anticipate. Why are we obsessed with exports of defense equipment when the first duty is to fortify? The first duty, and the government should give clear direction of this, is to fortify and not commercialize. There are many ways of making money. If you ask me, more than export the BrahMos, we should retain the BrahMos, we will need it. Why are we exporting jets and parts before fully fortifying our own squadrons? Do we have enough squadrons? Has the government done enough, this government, in the last 11 years on that? Or is there a rapid pace in the defense industry that's building up now, post-Operation Sindoor? Why did the Tejas lose control? Was it pilot error? And if so, why was there pilot error? Was it training? Was it systems? Or was it the machine? Ladies and gentlemen, the questions over the Indian Air Force have to be asked in a way that they are constructively, they have a huge impact, a positive impact on the country and on the preparedness of our armed forces. We have the best Air Force. We need to give them absolutely the best machines. Let's debate.
The Dubai Air Show, one of the world's most prestigious air shows. Just 2 days ago, this was the LCA Tejas. Watch the maneuvers on November 19th that made global headlines. This afternoon at 2:15 p.m. Dubai time, the Tejas was back in focus on the tarmac in what would be an 8-minute flight display as per this manual. A 70-second video accessed by Republic shows a smooth takeoff. The jet takes off smoothly, climbing into a clear blue sky under partly cloudy conditions. It executes initial rolls and passes over the crowd. Watch another video from another angle of the initial flight. Then came the maneuver phase. Between 10 and 20 seconds, the aircraft enters a vertical loop, a demanding high G-turn. As it approaches the bottom of the loop near ground level, it appears to suddenly lose power or control, with the nose pitching downward. These are the final few seconds from close angle. Between 20 and 25 seconds in this video, the aircraft collides with the ground in a barren area beside the runway, erupting into a massive fireball. Debris scatters and thick black smoke billows upward, obscuring the sight. This is a video shot by an aviation enthusiast. So what went wrong in the final moments?
One of the most prized display till yesterday by Tejas had won the hearts of the international aviation fraternity in Dubai. This maneuver, which the pilot was just executing a little while ago, he could not pull out of the barrel roll and the aircraft mushed into the ground. What could have been the cause? Only the court of inquiry would say.
The UAE, along with the Indian Air Force, will now probe what went wrong. There are 2 to 3 technical angles being looked at. Did a possible engine compressor stall cause the crash, or is there more?
Ladies and gentlemen, with me in the studio is Shawan Sen, our Deputy Executive Editor who deals deeply with defense. With me in the studio also is Air Commodore Ashminder Singh Bahal. Thank you very much, sir. Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor, former Air Force fighter pilot. He was spokesperson for the Air Force, I remember, during 2019 Balakot Air Marshal B.K. Murli, good evening, sir. We have also with us today Group Captain Anant Mathur. He's been an experimental test pilot, A-flying instructor. He's flown 20 types of aircraft. Thank you, Group Captain Anant Mathur. And General G.D. Bakshi is also with us this evening. Thank you very much, General Bakshi. So I began by saying that we must deal with the real questions out here. And I want to go ask Shravan. Shravan, you've spoken to people. What appears to have been the issue? What we'll do is we got 5 videos. We'll run 5 videos. We'll talk over the videos and we'll describe what happened. But what are the sources telling you today? Can we show as many visuals, as many windows as possible? Not the 7 window with 1 visual on this right. Don't do that, Pradeep. Shravan.
Just at the outset, let me just tell our viewers that what we are witnessing on the screens right now, if we can also show the maneuver part. This is a negative G maneuver that takes place, the vertical loop, as you can see. The takeoff is absolutely smooth in between 0 to 10 seconds. Absolute clear weather conditions right now. When the maneuver
Can I stop, please? Pradeep, can you run the early videos, please? I mean, we are directing you right now. No? So he's showing the final moment, so the director must pull the right loop. We'll wait. The director will pull the right loop. Yeah, and then get the right windows. We have to see it full frame. Thank you very much for the help. Yes, now you can speak. So,
right now, this vertical loop that basically takes place and the maneuvering is actually taking. This is the second lap that was basically being taking. Suddenly, you will see there is a certain descent and it goes rapidly down when you have a situation where you are losing control over the engines itself. Now that's one element that has been taken into consideration. The fly-by-wire system is also spoken about. That will come to a little later, but you can see there's a rapid descent thereafter. You will lose the moment that this maneuver takes place. You'll see it goes down, the nose dive, it goes down and it goes crashing down with absolutely no control whatsoever.
It happens very suddenly in about 4 seconds.
So there are 2 theories. Theory number 1 is with regards to the engine itself, whether the engine compressor stall happens. That's one aspect. The second aspect is about the fly-by-wire system in itself, which is much more technological in nature, in the sense that you do not have direct mechanical links there. So you do not have much of a chance there. It's important to point out here that all of these maneuvers that we are speaking about, in today's time, there is enough simulation that is essentially done. And there is very little room. It's a very little room as far as margin of error is concerned, there is very little margin that we have. So keeping that in mind, the pilots have already been well trained. This is the same pilot that has done over 1,000 flying hours, 15 hours of flying hours. So that's the question here is more about how exactly it is done. And it's important to remember that we do not have the margin error is very little here. So what you are seeing right now, there could be 2 theories. Of course, the Court of Inquiry comes up with the full details of it. But the questions here are about 2 things. Whether at all there is a complete engine failure, loss of engine power loss could be the other aspect that has to be looked into. These are some aspects that the Court of Inquiry will be looking at.
How many video loops do we have? Just want to get our producers to get their act together on this, because we told them before the show, we have about 5 loops. Can I have the 5 loops properly described? So Niranjan in the news desk can do that. We can have the description of each of the 5 videos, because that is elementary to what we do over the next 45 minutes. We're going to have to discuss each video and go deep within it. Viewers, what you're watching tonight is not just the crash of a plane. It has huge impact on India's defense industry. It has huge impact on India's air preparedness. It has huge impact on the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And we are here at Republic to ask some tough questions. If the first loop can be played, we get off the 7 windows. If the first loop can be played, and we can get myself and maybe one of our experts. Come on, Pradeep, can't keep directing you during the show. Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor is there with us. Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor. Again, we are back to the favorite 7 window, I guess. Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor, what do you think is happening here? Can you describe what's happening? And Niranjan, can you put a top band on this particular video so the 5 videos are played out properly? Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor, your thoughts on what happened in Dubai?
Seeing the video, the profile is going perfectly fine in the initial part. when he realigns with the runway for what we call as an outside turn or a negative G turn. In a negative G turn or a normal positive G turn, the basic difference is in a negative G turn, the pilot is, or the cockpit is outside facing the crowd, and in a positive G turn, the cockpit is inside the turn facing away from the crowd. Now, this turn, I do not know what the profile said, but at this point, if you see, we freeze the window here. What you see is from an outside turn, the aircraft has suddenly pitched down. And then the pilot has rolled. He has rolled and the wings are becoming level as the aircraft is crashing. And so this 2 to 3 seconds is the time in which something has happened, which has caused the aircraft to be recovered from the turn. So what are the two possibilities? The first possibility is that there is a loss of thrust, because of which the nose will go down. Otherwise, there is no reason for the nose of the aircraft to go down while the aircraft is doing a turn, which commenced with the nose up and level. If we see here, the nose is up and the aircraft is turning properly. And as we see here, at this point in time, the nose starts dropping and the aircraft rolls. So I personally feel that something has happened at this point in time, which has forced the pilot to roll the aircraft to become level and recover. But in this process, the nose has gone down, the aircraft is steeply going down and has mushed into the ground. Why I do not feel that there is a fly-by-wire failure, because in that case, the controllability of aircraft would be very difficult at lower levels. What we see is that the aircraft is almost wings level when it is hitting the ground and is trying to come up. But I feel there is no energy in the aircraft at that point in time, and it has gone down and mushed with the ground.
Why would that be?
Like I told you, there could be two reasons. One is, if there is a loss of thrust, at this point, if you see the nose has gone down, the nose would go down only if there is a loss of thrust. There is no reason for the nose to go down.
So it's an engine failure. Is that a complete engine failure, sir?
It could be a complete engine failure or it could be a loss of thrust. There could be a partial loss of thrust also because of some technical malfunction. Because there is a deliberate attempt to roll the aircraft. And that roll has further aggravated in terms that the nose has dropped down further.
Okay, a layman question. This is a GE engine, am I right, Shravan? It's a General Electric engine. G404. Why would an American company give us engines to compete with American aircraft? If the plane is going to be assembled and put together in India, and General Electric has been delaying and stalling handing over engines to us, from what I know, which they would, because they won't want India to use GE American engines, build an Indian plane around it, and have India export Tejas to Brazil and other African and Southeast Asian countries. They don't want to see India's defense preparedness go up to that level. So I'm told they've also been stalling the engines. They're not giving us, am I right, Sean?
Absolutely.
They are not giving us the engines.
Huh? We have received 2 and now we are expecting another 2.
So the Americans are trying to botch up and sabotage the whole Tejas.
They've been pushing for the, for the F-35.
Again, they want to sell F-35s, yeah. They want to...
Same F-35 has had 11 crashes.
Yeah. So they want to sell us F-35s. They don't want to give us the cutting-edge American planes. They want to stall their G engine delivery. They want to slow down the Tejas program. That's why I always say, viewers, America is not India's friend and never will be. They want to make money off India. This is Trump's America. He'll stall it even further. I'm not blaming America for the crash, but I'm saying that we cannot forget this was an American engine in an Indian plane. And if Narendra Modi is going to say, let's export Tejas to Brazil, let's get into the global defense market, the Americans will be very happy if we don't do well. I'd like to bring in Air Vice Marshal B.K. Murli. He has seen the Tejas up close. I want to now run video 2, the aircraft in a vertical loop, and then Shravan will describe what's happening after Air Marshal Murli, Air Marshal B.K. Murli tells us what he thinks happened in the Dubai air crash. Please, sir.
Arnab, thanks a lot for having me on the show. We were just talking about the aero engine GE404. We must remember that they passed on to us GE404 IN20 engines, fairly old engines, and these there have been some problems of a compressor stall on this engine in the past. Now, we must also remember that in 2024 at Jaisalmer during the Bharat Shakti, we lost an aircraft because of oil pump failure on the same aero engine. Now, the very fact that, at the end of the negative G, when he was, trying to actually straighten, put the aircraft, straightening level, but he went straight, mushed into the ground. It looks like, there is a loss of thrust, and the loss of thrust can only be ascribed to engine, probably compressor stall on this aero engine. Okay, now there was also a talk about the fly-by-wire. I must tell you, for the information of everyone, that this aircraft has got the most advanced quadruple digital, fly-by-wire system with ultimate backup. So actually the possibility of this fly-by-wire FAW system going rogue or malfunctioning is very rare. Now, the third part is this aircraft has got a Martin Baker 1600 ejection seat, and when the pilot decides to come out of the aircraft, this seat is good enough to bring him safely to the ground. Obviously, the pilot didn't have time even to punch the ejection seat and get out of the aircraft. And secondly, the fly-by-wire system, was actually it gives agility to the aircraft, and we saw that in the first 25 seconds of this aircraft flying in Dubai, we saw what kind of agility it has. So when you actually put all these facts together, somehow, actually you come to the conclusion that yes, perhaps the engine may have given way at the time when probably he was trying to get out of the negative G, and he was trying to put the aircraft straight on level. Now, if the pilot had some, altitude, probably he would have done that. This aero engine has got a thrust of 85 kilonewtons, which is good enough to take the pilot out of the emergencies anytime he wants. But that didn't happen. So it looks as though that the engine in the last moment, or probably when he was trying to get out of the negative G, may have played truant. But notwithstanding all this, the Tejas Mark 1 is a very, very, very extremely versatile aircraft, and it is they have actually been taking part in international air shows for a very long time. And then such a thing happening in front of so many spectators, it appears that people came from far and wide to see only Tejas do the solo aerobatics there in Dubai. So in such a situation, the Tejas going down, and that too loss of life, it's something very difficult to digest. Arnab.
So it's a big setback for Hindustan Aeronautics. It's a big setback for India's indigenous fighter jet program. But truth be told, what I'm hearing you say tonight is that the Americans have given us old engines, and even those engines, they are delayed. Am I right?
Absolutely right. In fact, you might, we actually initially contracted 80 engines for LCM Mark 1A. LCM Mark 1A got inordinately delayed because of the delivery of the aero engines. You see, when this engine selection was going on at headquarters, I was a part of the team. At that time, they had recommended that we should go in for a EJ200 aero engine of the EADS and not IN404. Now, the General Electric even came out with a suggestion that, look, initially you buy 404 and we will upgrade it, or we will retrofit it to GE414. Now, I do not see that GE414 Retro 4 anywhere in the horizon, but now we seem to have got stuck with the 404 IN20 engines. IN20 engines, definitely, those who have actually seen the General Electric report and followed some of the flight safety problems that use have had, GE404 engine definitely has had problems in the past.
Just
Yeah, I just want to tell our viewers before I come back to you, Shravan, that the HAL Tejas is a single-engine 4.5 generation multi-role combat aircraft with a delta wing kind of design. It's developed by the Aeronautical Development Agency, manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The idea of Tejas LCA goes back to 1984, right? It is powered by an engine made by General Electric, and General Electric has not been India's friend. It has tried to slow things down, and it cannot be, General Bakshi, without the role of the American government. The American government has tried to slow down the delivery of next-gen engines for Tejas, and because America sees the LCA program and the Tejas as a threat, and we have a problem, therefore, of both the problems within the Tejas and our commitments to other countries and our decision-making. We want to give Tejas planes to the world and BrahMos everywhere around the world, but I think we need to figure some things out right now, because the next war is not going to give us time to prepare, General Bakshi. I'm just coming back to you, Shravan. I just want General Bakshi's views on the visuals, what he's seen there, and the lessons of this. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, to our top quality team of panelists tonight, lines are open. Please do call. General Bakshi.
Arnab, you are very right. Charity begins at home. Before we start going into overdrive on an export drive, I think we might as well make up the shortfalls that we have in our own armed forces. The BrahMos is a very expensive missile, and we can't be exporting it when we need every single BrahMos. You never know when Sindoor 2.0 could start. You know, ignite all over again. I heard some reports that we are buying a cheaper missile because we can't afford that many missiles, so we want to have the BrahMos in conjunction with cheaper foreign missiles, right? I suggest we might as well concentrate on making up our own shortfalls first. Apropos the GE 404 engine, we were supposed to get this 2 years back. We have paid up $1 billion hard cash. We are not asking for it gratis or in bheek as Pakistan takes. We have paid hard cash. And till now we've gotten only 2 engines. Arnab, over 2 years have passed. And I don't know why we have still gone ahead and said that we will, for the 1A, also going for the American engine. I thought it was time to change. They have reneged on their promises. They have deliberately tried to slow it down. 3 Apaches were coming to us. They came via Turkey. Turkey stopped them and sent them back because it was apprehensive that maybe a conflict could start with Pakistan. And it was trying to help Pakistan between America and Turkey. I think we might as well now learn to distinguish who are our friends, whom can we rely upon. I'm sorry.
So what's the answer, General Bakshi? Buy more Russian jets? What's the answer? What's the answer?
The answer is to go indigenous, but till such time.
But how, sir? We don't make engines.
Develop the AMCA in less than 10 years. So then you might as well start making engines. You might as well.
That's going to take a long time.
Heavily on the.
That's going to take a very long time.
This engine program. No, but you might as well focus heavy. You get in the private sector, and I'm sure you can speed it up.
So we have 29 squadrons down from 31. We have a sanctioned strength of 42 squadrons. We have 29.
So that's exactly what I'm saying. Arnab, you will have to go in for the Su-57 as an interim buy. The Russians are prepared to give you right to manufacture. They are prepared to share the technology. They are prepared to share the source code.
Is that a setback for Hindustan Aeronautics? And is that going to be a setback for Atmanirbharta?
To the Americans?
Is that going to be a setback for Atmanirbharta?
Temporary, but I think it may be essential in the interests of operational security.
I want to go to now Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor also, who is with us this evening. Wing Commander Ashminder Singh Bahal is also there with us, Air Commodore. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Your thoughts, sir, what you're seeing here? What's happened here to this plane? Which video would you like to see? The descent, the normal flight, the last moments?
Actually,
which one would you like to place?
I just want to concentrate because a lot of things have already been done. I don't want to repeat all that, but I want to say two things in this. The first thing I want to say is that there has been some amount of maneuvers that have been carried out. It's not the first maneuver that is carried out. Secondly, the visibility, weather is all fine. It is beyond. So there is no weather or visibility involvement in this. Third thing I want to say is that the aircraft, when it is carrying out the final maneuver, where it is getting into a situation which is very unhealthy, where the amount of height is not available to recover the aircraft from there, I personally feel that we could also look at the pilot disorientation aspect.
Why?
Now, only...
Why? This is an experienced pilot, sir.
Exactly.
Why would there be disorientation of the pilot?
So, disorientation can occur with any amount of experience that a pilot has. It's a commanding officer with large amount of experience also felt disorientation, but I had the safe height.
What do you mean by disorientation?
So what I want to say is, the main thing here is that right now the inquiry is still in progress. By 72 hours, there will be much more clearer position. But definitely, engine is one of the suspect things. I totally agree with you there. But we cannot rule out any other causes also, such as disorientation in this.
What is disorientation? So you repeated it 3 times.
Okay. Disorientation means that you are not very clear which side the horizon is, even though the weather is good. That's why I mentioned the weather and visibility. Even though the weather and visibility is good, at times when you are under high G conditions or under, negative G or high G conditions, you could get disoriented.
Why would there be negative G condition?
No,
let me take that question to Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor. Why would there be negative G condition, sir? What is negative G condition? What does this technical term mean? And what is your reading of what happened?
The distance between the ground and the place at where the pilot is trying to recover, this distance is much lesser. The height is much lesser. First step. Now, it could be a mechanical fault, it could be an engine failure, it could be some fly-by-wire, or it could be a pilot error. It is not, clear at this stage, and we should not speculate, I feel. Let the FDR, CVR be extracted, the accident investigation team do their work, and some clarity on the exact causes come out. At this stage, we are just seeing the visuals, which will help the accident investigators in a big way, because the audio is available in certain videos, the videos, the pictures and the motion is available. Negative G for your viewers is when you, in a layman language, when you sit on a giant wheel and the giant wheel is coming down, you get a feeling where your heart starts to come up. The blood from the lower part of the body starts to come up. And in aviation, when you are in inverted position, that condition is called negative G. And the blood rushes to your eyes and you feel weightlessness. You are hanging by your straps in any aeroplane. So this maneuver which this pilot is doing has negative G maneuvers in that. And this is what the Air Commodore Behel was trying to explain.
Was he doing something very extraordinarily rare? Was that maneuver rare? The plane has been functioning for 2016. This plane, particular aircraft, which is doing these tests, the pilot is also an experienced pilot?
Handpicked for maneuvers. The pilots go through these maneuvers practice before the air show. And I'm told that this same pilot had done an air show in the morning. He had performed the aerobatic display in the morning. I'm not sure, but somewhere I read in social media, I'm not sure about that. But these red lines are drawn. There is a flight controller on ground which is in constant
touch. It's very
touch,
sudden. The thing is that the plane is moving. Sorry, sir, I'm a layman. But the plane, sir, is moving at very high velocity. And then it just suddenly goes down almost at a 80-degree angle. It's not even losing power and moving forward and falling, at a distance at a 30-degree angle. It's going at so something else happens. It just drops like a stone from the sky, sir.
Sure, he's trying to straighten it out and pull it up. Now, at this stage, instead of coming up, it just mushes into this is a mush in flying term we call, the aircraft has mushed into the ground. Now, what could be the reason is what will come out in the inquiry. But seeing the visuals, it is what we all have been speaking on it since the afternoon. And this is the most likely reasons for the...
Okay, viewers, we are going to be opening to phone calls right now. We have a lot of callers, but Shravan, you had a point to make here before I go to our last guest.
You know, Air Vice Marshal Murli makes a very pertinent point because the Indian Air Force has time and again spoken, and Air Vice Marshal, correct me if I'm wrong here, as far as the GE 404 engine is concerned, the axial compressor under elevated circumstances has been a major issue. The Air Force has spoken about it, but it seems that we have got stuck to it, and you are making this point also. And Arnab, this becomes extremely crucial because what the Air Force wants today is an advanced version, that is the Mk1A, which we still haven't got till date.
Why? The Americans are not giving it.
You do not have the engines. There is a promise that has been made by the HAL that they are going to give 16 aircraft with every year. The Air Force Chief has spoken about 3 squadrons every year, which is a huge amount that we are really looking at right now. How do you really fulfill it if this is the problem we are still facing?
Layman question, why can't all these big Indian companies, you have Tatas, you have manufacturing companies, can not one Indian major manufacturing company make a fighter jet engine? Just asking a layman question, we seem so absolutely dependent on the Americans. I'm uneasy about it.
And that's all. There is a great this is changing in AMCA. That is only reason why, because you were not allowing the private partners all this while. Today you have to bid for it.
But
in
the
AMCA
private
also
partners will make it themselves, or the private partners will do it in partnership with the Americans again.
Earlier it was like we had to give it to HL.
No, Safran, we are doing co-development with
Yes,
Safran.
I want Group Captain Anant Mathur to come in before I take this forward. He's been an experimental test pilot and a flying instructor. What is your reading of what happened here, sir? Seeing the videos.
Good evening, and also good evening to all the panelists. Several of them are, all of them are in fact my seniors. Good evening, sir. So firstly, this crash is a very tragic incident, and I would like to pay my respect to this brave heart who joined the Air Force and had to pay for his life today in this very tragic accident. What I feel is that at this stage, rather than discussing the cause of the accident, which could be because of weather conditions, because what you are seeing from the ground is blue sky, but pilots, there is low-level haze. At this stage, what you see in Delhi is much worse. But what you see in Middle East is also a lower level of haze, which you can see at the bottom portion. You are seeing a blue sky on the top, but there is a haze layer and the slant visibility is low. And that is the time when we were discussing disorientation. That could be a reason. There is no doubt that the problem with the engine or with the aircraft at this stage cannot be ruled out. And that is where the court of inquiry will come into the play.
Callers.
The second aspect that I want to tell you is that the delay in the delivery of the Tejas today is only and only because of the engines. HAL has its own problems, but for the last 12 months, HAL has been waiting only for the engines so that they can deliver the aircraft to the Air Force. And also, yes, what we have discussed here about using the private vendors to develop several parts of the fuselage, several parts of the wing that is being planned for future deliveries. HAL has 2 assembly lines in Bangalore. 3rd assembly line is coming up in Nasik. So we are going to have 3 assembly lines churning out LCA to the rate of 24 to 36 per year.
But can we come out of this? How bad a hit is this for the LCA project?
So this is a problem because, see, we are dependent in this stage. I also would like to say that Kaveri engine has been flattering to has been deceiving us all this while. And they have always been telling us that there is a problem with the reheat. We are not able to sort out the metallurgy. Okay, you can't do it for the reheat. Why don't you use it for the latest drones where you don't need the reheat? that is where our problem is. We need to involve private sector big time so that the bureaucratic inertia in development of engine is taken off. And another aspect that I want to say is that no country is anybody's friend, Arnab, here I would like to say, but there are certain countries who have been our friends, whether when we did the nuclear test, whenever we had external fights, and that is the time both France and Russia have been non-judgmental with us. They have stood by us, and that needs to be remembered when we are doing critical deals which can completely stop our production of the aircraft as it is happening now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a lot of callers because the callers have noticed, Shawan, that we have top quality experts tonight. They want to ask them directly. So our first caller is Srinivas Murthy from Bengaluru.
Yes.
Mr. Murthy, you can ask your question. I'll get one of our experts to answer you. Sir.
Yeah, good evening, Arnab.
Good evening, sir.
You are an asset for Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
See, now one thing what Captain was saying just before I have been allowed to talk to you is nobody is friend and nobody is enemy for any country. Okay? And America is never and is not going to be a friend for Bharat. Okay? And the venue where it happened is Dubai. Now what is happening nowadays in Bharat, if we just consider this and just match these two things together, we must be very, very, very careful about Muslims.
No, sir, I don't want to give a communal angle to this because you may have your views on this. We don't have, thank you for what you said, but we do not have anything to come to that conclusion. So I'll have to pause there, sir, with you. But let's keep on to what we can learn, because most important for us, Mr. Murthy, and all of us, is to come out of this situation. The reason I'm saying to come out of the situation is because the Indian Air Force has a plan to induct 600 jets in the next 2 decades. We need these planes. Lot of these, almost 300 of them, are LCA variants, MK1 and MK2. So my question will be be able to go down that path after what has happened? I'll get KV Gupta, please, our next caller from Bengaluru. Mr. Gupta.
Arnab and all the distinguished panelists, I am a counseling psychologist by profession, and I have learned to look at any situation from a very different perspective. The question that you have asked is whether we should stop depending on foreign people. I would actually request that we should also look at from the perspective of what is called as a sleeper bug, a sleeper virus, like how we have sleeper cells of human people who hang on for 20 years, 30 years, and then suddenly wake up. If you see the similarity between the Ahmedabad plane crash, the plane here and the plane there almost suddenly lost altitude and they crashed. The hypothesis that I have is that there is hacking that is going on, there is digital warfare going on by enemies who do not want India to prosper. And they're the ones who are planting these kind of sleeper viruses which wake up at critical times. That is how the...
Mr. Gupta, can I take that thought, because I don't want to appear too dismissive of this, because I want to address the issue which you've raised, and I want to ask one of our experts to answer that question. Maybe a better position will be, there is a theory of sabotage, basically, which is being hinted at here. Now, Marshal Ravi Kapoor, I want you to take that, sir. The comparisons being drawn because in public memory now, a civilian crash and an Air Force crash are there in people's minds. Both cases, the engines stalling, loss of height, circumstances seem to be broadly similar. I want your take on that, because also there have been reports of late around the Delhi, airport, and also, I think there was some reported in Kolkata
and Mumbai
of GPS spoofing, and there was no denial of the GPS spoofing. It was not a conspiracy theory. There were serious cases of GPS spoofing which can be very misleading and dangerous for civilian aircraft. So in that context, would you like to answer the question raised there?
Yes, I think there are too many points which are being combine to try and evolve a theory. Yes, sabotage as a cause for an accident is never ruled out in a court of inquiry. A court of inquiry goes through everything. So the moment we have the FDR and the CVR, that's the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, a lot of things will become absolutely clear, whether it was a technical failure, whether it was an engine malfunction, whether it was a fly-by-wire control failure, whether it was a pilot error, or whatever it was. That would come out so the first stage of ruling out is that. Then the second stage comes, in case it's a technical malfunction, then we go on to the second stage as to identify what caused the
But can we completely rule out sabotage? Can we completely rule out sabotage, sir?
Pardon? Sabotage, yes. Sabotage as an angle cannot be ruled out. But like a lot of people think that, yes, there are software in an aircraft engine, like the full authority digital engine control, and the aircraft itself has software.
No, because there was a campaign going on. There was a campaign by our enemies against the Tejas. Oh, this plane is leaking oil. PIB fake news alert had to be put out. So there was a lot of negative, social media war against the Tejas much before the crash, on the eve of that.
No, I think we should not speculate at this point in time. I would only go to say that, every facet of this, why it happened has to be investigated. But to say that, engine has failed, if the engine fails, you see, GE 404 was fitted on F117, then it was fitted on F18. It is GE 414 is fitted on F18. Gripen has got GE 414. It has flown more than 13 million hours.
Correct.
So, when we take a large number, and we take the number of incidents or accidents,
I take your point, sir. People are just very concerned, sir, because sometimes things happen. We are not civil aviation experts, but we did hear news about GPS spoofing, a lot of GPS spoofing. What is GPS spoofing? People are concerned. What is happening? Why is there GPS spoofing? Is there some enemy hand? Are there people inimical to India's interests who want to compromise passenger safety, who are behind GPS spoofing? We have our next caller from...
First it was with our transport vehicles itself. You've had the transport aircraft GPS spoofing happened when aid was being provided.
But last 2 weeks, it was a serious issue. The problem is we've not had clear clarifications from the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security on what's going on. Arif Mohammed is calling in from Kurnool. Arif.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Hi.
And thank you for providing me an opportunity. I really thank Republic TV for giving me the opportunity. I have some few questions which I need to ask to these experts. Sir, what is it that we are lagging? Because for developing this Kaveri engine, we have taken decades of time. And when it comes to ISRO, we have done marvels. We have sent Mission Mars, we have sent Chandrayaan, we have made BrahMos missiles. Recently, we have also made this hypersonic missiles. And where are we lagging this?
Okay, let me take that question to Air Marshal B.K. Murli. Where are we lacking? We've done very well in ISRO. I'm not saying HAL has done badly, but obviously a comparison is being drawn here. Sir.
Yeah. In fact, it's been decades since GTRE came out with a solid design for the Kaveri engine. In fact, all of us who are associated with Kaveri engine sitting at headquarters at Delhi, we know that, not an inch moved there in GTRE, towards perfection. In fact, they had taken the aero engine to Russia to do the afterburner testing and then came back. Yeah, they were not able to produce a 10 kilonewtons of, 10-ton thrust aero engine for, LCA. And then they actually made a lot of collaboration with Safran in France, and then subsequently with Rolls-Royce. But unfortunately, the GTRE did not deliver. GTRE stroke DRDO did not deliver what we wanted. In fact, they were found lacking, and there are umpteen reports on the subject which actually can be found with the Ministry of Defense. You see, now coming back to this Tejas, I want to just make one simple point which Shravan was actually brought out and which actually was pushed to the background. The LCA Mark 1A was not supposed to have GE 404 engine. It was supposed to have GE 414. This was the agreement at Air Headquarters when the General Electric people came. Now it looks as though we are stuck with 97 GE 404 engines. Now if they are going to retrofit those engines and at HAL
no, the thing is, sir, we have, what is our option? The Russians will not want us to have Tejas. I mean, we can say Russians don't want us to have Tejas. They were pushing it back earlier. I was told that there was an interview given to Republic, General Bakshi, by one of the designers of Tejas, Shri Kota Harinarayana, who said that there was pressure from Russians in the mid-90s and 2000s. They said we should not develop LCA. They wanted to give us MiGs and Sukhois. He also said how Sharad Pawar did not wanted to review the whole LCA program. And now, the same groups will now say, oh, buy the Sukhoi 57, take the F-35, they are in the race for you anyway, why do you need more LCAs? If we built 300 LCAs, rather than if we were to import them, that would be a lot of money. So there will be foreign lobbies who will now want to sabotage the LCA project.
Arnab, you don't have to sabotage the LCA project, but you have to get a different engine. Whether you take the Safran engine, you take the help of the Rolls-Royce, you take the help of the French, or you take the help of the Russians to develop your own engine. You use your private sector to develop your own engine. Give them a race.
That's the point. Use your private sector. Let this be like the World War II moment was for America. Let it be a wake-up call for India.
Arnab, if it is any satisfaction, the Chinese are also not being able to get their act together on the jet engines.
Of course. It takes time, sir.
You know, so therefore we have to. We are working on the AMCA. That will take 10 years or 15 years.
Correct.
When I spoke of the Su-57, that is an interim solution which could give us the technologies we need even for the AMCA.
Absolutely, sir. I was Anil Chibbar calling from Gurugram, our last call.
I'm not saying ditch the AMCA. Go in for the AMCA.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Anil.
Good evening, sir. Good evening to all of you. If I may ask General G.D. Bakshi Saab to, comment, when are we going to implement NAVIC? Number one. And we have all-weather friends like, okay, Russia, you just said, sir, that, Russians are against it. But so is the entire globe against our modernization. So how do we intend to take this forward? Because we talk about the deep state, we talk about how the tariff war has killed us.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they might even do the same with the
I think Anil, I'm short of time. I think General Bakshi got the point. General Bakshi. And then I'll get Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor as well.
Yeah. Apropos the NAVIC, we had 11 satellites. Today we are down to 8. Right? We urgently need to pick it up. And we are planning for 52 constellation of satellites. My only point is we have no time. We have to step on the gas and put it up there as fast as possible. The NAVIC has given us sub-meter levels of accuracy. So that's not a problem. Apropos the issue of the foreigners, of course, no foreign country would
is going to be with us. Absolutely.
They lose
I'm told I have one more caller and then I'll close. Dr. Olav Albuquerque.
But
Dr. Olav.
You have to get your private sector.
Good evening. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Albuquerque.
Yeah. Can I speak? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Arnab, congratulations on highlighting an excellent point. Yeah. My question is, we have two hostile neighbors, Pakistan on our left and China on our right.
Sir.
Yes, we have to host our neighbors.
Bangladesh.
Why can't we fast forward developing our indigenous engine?
I've been asking the same question. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor. Please take that.
One of the fellow panelists just mentioned that engine manufacturing is more complex than manufacturing a nuclear reactor. The kind of test beds that we need, the kind of metallurgy that you need, the kind of precision, the crystals you need a complete ecosystem. There are about 4 to 5 countries globally who are manufacture the jet engine.
I know, but it can be a game changer for us, sir, if we do that. And it's not impossible. It may take 5-10 years, but it's not impossible.
But the sectors where we were denied total transfer, be it space, be it missiles, be it nuclear, we have developed. But when HF-24 Maru in 1970s was being produced, it was very close to be at the LCS stage that we are now today.
Yeah.
The project got killed in the early 70s.
So we have to make up now. So we have to do both, in my view. We have to import, we have to build, we have to get technology transferred, but we have to have our own long-term engine development program. I thank you all. We've got some callers. We had a great panel. We're really sorry for the loss of life of the Indian Air Force pilot here in the Tejas LCA project. And I think the only way, Shawan, to get over this is to speed up the project to make sure that we are more exacting in the future and to trust no one. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Good night and goodbye.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।